Hey, this is amazing Toyin. Welcome. If you're watching this, you probably got an invitation from me or you saw one of my ads. First, let me introduce myself. I'm a broker and I've been a broker for 25 years, since 1993. This is a simple, informal talk. And at the end of this video, you will see below all the opportunities I'm offering you as an agent or a broker for that matter on how you could change your life around by looking at real estate from a different angle. Most of us as agents were trained to list or find a buyer and help them. But over the last 20, 30 years, there has been an influx of investors into the industry. So the agent now finds an investor whenever they find a listing or they find a property where the owner is very motivated and they can wait. So why, I ask myself, why did the agent not buy the property for themselves? Let me tell you a quick story. When I first started in the real estate industry, before I got my broker's license, I was driven around for almost 2 years by an agent looking for a hot property. And we would go from one house to the other for almost 2 years until I found what I wanted. The day I bought the property, when the agent wrote an offer, I remember my agent's name, up till now, Jim. Poor guy. He drove me around for 2 years. So the day we found the property that I now purchased, I bought it from HUD. He wrote up the contract. And I think Jim probably made 5%, 5 or 6%, because he was the agent, that procured the buyer. And so if you know about HUD properties, you probably get, 5% of the deal. So Jim got 5% of the deal. The day I bought the property, the contract was for $78,000. When we closed 30 days later, or 45 days later, in those days, I'm talking about over 20 years ago, the property was worth $112,000, I think. So which means I picked up an instant equity of almost $40,000. And so my question was, why didn't Jim buy this property for himself? I mean, he was an agent. He could have bought it from HUD for himself, got a commission, and then flipped it. So he probably made about $4,200 commission or something, right? But I made for $40,000. And then I refinanced the house. Eventually, this house went up in value to almost $300,000. So I asked myself, if you're an agent and you're watching this, what do you think is the future of our industry? If you don't know, I got news for you. Over the long haul, there are investors, Wall Street money, hedge funds that are coming into our industry, and their goal is to disrupt the industry. I mean, when I say disruption, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, 10 years ago, the hotel industry did not know there was going to be an Airbnb. Today, Airbnb has more listings than all the hotel industries combined. Number two, before there was Uber, the taxi companies did anything they wanted. When you call them, sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. But in the last 5 years, guess what? Uber came in and disrupted the whole industry. And now you have Uber Eats, Uber Go, Uber anything, right? You hardly have to leave your house. And this disruption is going on in every industry. Now, 15 years ago, Amazon was laughed at because they were almost going out of business. It was like, who's going to buy books? Today, every major retailer is scared of Amazon. And if you heard of Amazon, you probably bought something from them, just like I do. So what's going on in our industry? And if you are an agent, and you still focus on listing, why aren't you flipping? Why don't you add flipping to your business model? And I'll tell you how you could do that at the end of this video. So let's go one step at a time, So here's the state of the industry. It's this new process called iBuyers, right? How will iBuyers impact your business? iBuyers are Wall Street investors, Silicon Valley money, right, that are trying to use so-called, I call it so-called technology to disrupt our industry. Because real estate at the end of the day is still a people business. And guess what? Who is closest to the people? You and I, agents, brokers, right? But these high buyers, believe it or not, they're making moves, huge moves. Over the last 1 year, $5 billion was invested in our industry, right, by these so-called high buyers, Wall Street. Why do you think they're investing the money in our industry? Because real estate is such a huge, huge industry. Just housing alone, every year is $1.3 trillion. 5 million houses change hands every year. My question to you is this: out of 5 million, how many do you sell? How many do you plan to sell? How many houses do you need to actually make the income that you want, right? For example, the average agent makes only $38,000 a year. If you ask me, that's pathetic. You work for a whole year and you only make $38,000, right? You might as well go and do minimum wage and go and work at McDonald's. But as a professional agent who spent time to get a license, you have to ask yourself, is $38,000 all I deserve? And so I'm here to show you how you could double or triple that amount without even listing any property. Okay? You'll be wondering, well, if I don't list properties, why am I an agent? Well, if you list properties, it will be your own property. That's what I have done for 25 years. As I said, I'm an agent, I'm a broker, but I'm a broker investor. And if you look in here, okay, I have done 560 deals, right? And as an agent, when you get off here, you could go Google my name or put my name in your MLS, Toyin Dawodu, Toyindawodu. Just put my name in the MLS. You will find all my listings there. And every property in my listing, I bought it in my corporate name and then rehabbed it and I'm reselling it. So going back to Jim a little bit, okay? The problem is that agents came through a different path, okay? Over the years, this licensing process was developed, by the state, by brokers, by our industry, the National Association, which is good for all of us, which means that the people that are supposed to get involved in representing homeowners and sellers are people that are licensed so that we could have some kind of fiduciary relationship. But today, everybody has access to our exclusive MLS. When I was growing up, right, when I started, before I got a license and I wanted to get into real estate, we used to look for expired listings, right? And you will call an agent to get an expired listings and, you may not reach the agent. And so what did we do? We used to go what I call dumpster diving. So we go to real estate offices and look in their dumpster, any old MLS they discarded, we'll look at it, look up the expired listing and try to contact the owners. Okay? So since agents are trained in only one area of the industry, in other words, the area where they're supposed to just list, right? Find a seller, list their property. If you can list the property, then the seller goes away. So I ask you, if you go to list a property and the seller says, well, I'm not ready to list, or I just want to sell right now, I don't want to wait, right? The agents do two things. Either they don't list the property, say the price is too high, they can't agree with the seller, or, the seller decides that, well, I'm not going to do all this fixing, I'm just going to find an investor. So the question is, the agent either goes and find another investor to come and buy the property, right? They take the listing sometimes, or they tell the owner, well, let me find you an investor, right? And then they came back and take the listing. So if the owner knows how much they want for their property, they are motivated, why can't you be the investor? Oh, I know. Some agents think, no, that's illegal. You can't do that. It is legal as long as the owner knows exactly what your intention is. And I'm going to discuss in a little bit all the free leads you could get, all the motivated sellers you could get, right? To either help them list their home or you buy the home for yourself as an agent investor, okay? So these iBuyers, they call themselves, their long-term goal, believe it or not, I don't care what they tell you, is to buy and sell properties with or without agents. Let me repeat. Their long-term goal is to buy and sell property with or without agents. And that's happened before, if you don't know it. If you look at it before the last recession, right, most hard properties are sold through hard websites, and every agent has access to it. During the recession, guess what happened? HUD now began to sell these properties in bulk. Not only did they sell it in bulk, they even provide financing for these hedge fund companies, thereby bypassing agents completely. And the houses that went back to banks, right? They call it repo houses, REOs, okay? Sometimes you don't get a chance to even list any of them because they award the contract, sometimes in bulk to one broker, right? It may not be your broker. And so you might have a chance to be the buying agent, but you don't never get a chance to be the listing agent. So if you look at it, the bottom line is this. Since there are 5 million houses that are going to change hands every year, how many do you need to make a good living? I would say 1 or 2, maybe 3. Why? Because according to Atom Data, okay, Atom Data is the research company that does a huge research in our industry. They focus on foreclosures, probates, anything that has to do with the real estate industry. They have information on it. Their statistics, their research shows that the average flipper makes $68,000 per flip nationwide. In some areas, they make more than that. I've made more than that in some of my flips. One flip, I've made 6-figure income. Sometimes, I think the highest I've made was over $400,000 on one single flip. Now, if you spend all year looking for one flip and you make $68,000 and maybe you list 2 other houses, right, and you make another $10,000, $15,000, that's $80,000. If you make $80,000, it doesn't matter where you live in the country, you probably be in the 10% of the income bracket, okay? So the whole purpose of you watching this video or responding to my ad is to show you that you need a paradigm shift. You need a mind shift, okay? You need to learn a whole new system so that you could begin to create the income that you want instead of depending on listings alone or having to depend on a broker to make a living. Obviously, you need a broker to be a listing agent, but do you really need a broker to buy for your own account? No. Because if you remember, when you bought your house, right, you didn't have to buy from a broker. You didn't need a broker to buy a house that you're going to live in. It's the same thing. When you buy an investment property, you don't need a broker, even though you're a registered agent. Now, certainly, I'm not saying that you should leave your broker, okay, or divorce your broker. Brokers have a purpose. That's why the state put them in there. I'm a broker. So even if you stayed with your broker, which I encourage you to do, right? Okay, what I don't want you to do is moving from one broker to the other because you're looking for so-called list, you're looking for so-called training, you're looking for somebody to hold your hand, somebody to kind of pamper you. No, you got into this business because you wanted to be an independent contractor. And so as an independent contractor, you need to figure out a way for you to succeed and make the kind of living that you need. And so why are you so dependent on brokers to get you free leads? Well, I have a program here that will get you all the free leads that you want. All the free leads that you want, okay? But how many free leads do you need to actually make a good living? I say about 2 or 3, okay? So we're going to discuss free leads in a minute, okay? So I ask you, why are you an agent? Because you love real estate. It was your passion. If you don't love real estate and you're an agent, you probably should think about getting out right now, okay? Now, so I'm going to invite you to join me, okay, in my journey to show you as an agent this new paradigm shift that you need to follow, this mind shift that you need to follow in order to raise your level of income and service. Because even when you buy a property from a homeowner, you are providing a service first of all, because you're a licensed agent, right? You owe it to the homeowner to disclose everything that they need to know by law to them, right? You need to disclose to the homeowner your intentions that, look, you're buying it for your account, you're buying it to make profit, and the homeowner understands because they either don't want to do the work that is necessary or they're in such a motivated state that they need a sale right away. What you don't have to do, right? If you want to do that, you can still have to go find another agent, investor, because you don't know how to take the deal down. My job and my goal is to show agents how to take the deal down for themselves before you go find an investor, because having taken the first step to get a license, right, you should take this next step to maximize your license, either by the listing or by the buying and flipping it, okay? So I'm going to invite you to join me in this journey, and when you click below, you could see all the opportunities that I offer in terms of giving you the A to Z of becoming a flipper. Because the number one fear of most agents is that I don't know how, I don't have the money, and very seldom have I run into an agent, right, that doesn't ask me, wow, I'd like to be a flipper, okay? And let me give you an example. So an agent calls me, okay, and they say, I got this property, it's an investor property, can you come and buy it? So I tell them my price. And they say, well, if it's that low, I'll buy it. I say, well, go, then buy it. This is my offer, okay? Believe it or not, sometimes they don't get any higher offer than I already offered them. And if they know that's the most they can get for that property, everybody knows what the actual price should be. There's nothing wrong with you telling the owner, guess what? I'm an investor broker, I'm an investor agent. I buy properties and I also list properties. So if your property is listed, this is how long it's going to take to sell. These are the things you have to do. If you don't want to do all that, you want to sell right away, this is what you could sell for. It's up to the owner to now accept either one of those options. The only objective the homeowner has is to sell their property at the most profitable price. Okay? The most profitable price sometimes depends on time factor, right? Depends on what resources they have to put into the property in order to get the maximum price. If they're not willing to put those resources, right, then your job as a flipper is to buy it, put in those resources, add the value, and then make a profit. And the homeowner is okay with that. Now, so let me go quickly right here. Let me see. Do you know they not only are the iBuyers trying to disrupt, right? Even the brokers, major brokerage houses are starting their own flipping business. Now, when they start their own flipping business, do you think eventually they might eliminate agents? If a broker is flipping, right, why would they need agents? If a broker who has 10 agents makes $100,000 from 10 agents, and he can flip 2 properties without any agent, do you really think he needs an agent? That's what's going to happen in the future. So the question is this: how do you grow your business, right, without listing more properties? I answered that question below for you. How do you make $60,000 on every listing, and how can you do the same, right? How I make $60,000 on every listing? Because every property that I buy, okay, I'm the listing agent. I flip it, right? I rehab and I flip it, and every rehab I make about 60 plus my commission in the back end, right? So now we're talking about leads, right? These are the 5 major sources of free leads, okay? And I have a video that covers each one of these that you can benefit from, right? You have probate, foreclosures, divorce, FISBO, initially there were 5, now there are 7. Absentee owners, vacant and abandoned properties, right? Okay, there's a difference between vacant and abandoned houses. Okay, abandoned means that it's been there for a long time, nobody wants it. You drive by every day, you see it, but you don't do anything, and about a year or 2 later, you find the house, somebody bought it and fixing it up. It could be me. Why not you? All right? Now, why you want to focus on this, I explained that in one of my videos, right here. There are over 13 million vacant homes in the US, okay? And every year, at least 20% of them, eventually it's going to change hands, right? Probate, okay? Within 1 year, 20% of all probate houses are going to be sold, right? I don't know what percentage goes to investors, what percentage goes to listing, but 20% of them are going to be sold. So if you focus on probate, you know that within a year, 20% of almost 700,000 probate houses will be sold within that year. Then you have divorce. Well, you know, right now, every 50% of all divorces, of all marriages end up in divorce. When they say divorce, there's usually a property in between, right? So part of the objectives of what I'm trying to show you is how can you take advantage of all this, right? As an agent, how do you get involved and how do you acquire the knowledge to be like me so that you're doing 2, 3, 4, 5 properties a year, okay? So far this year, I've done about 4 properties. With those 4 properties, okay, just 4 properties, okay, I've brought in close to $400,000. Just 4 properties, right? And I'm not even done yet. The year is, it's still not ended yet, okay? So if you look at foreclosures, 58% of the people that fall into foreclosure, the house is going to go to sale within 1 year. Then you have vacant. There are some properties that are vacant because of somebody just got transferred. They don't know what to do with the house. Some are vacant because they kicked out the tenant. They don't know what to do. All kind of scenarios is what I explained to you in some of the videos, okay, that I have, that you could click below. You will see the videos, okay. I have 63 videos that I've recorded over the last couple of years, okay. These 63 videos took me 6 months to record, and it covers every aspect of real estate, right? And I explain them below, if you page down. Every aspect of real estate that teaches you, okay, how to buy, rehab, flip properties, and sell. And actually, even to find buyers. You can find buyers. When I buy a property, right, and I'm rehabbing it, during my rehab, I get 30, 40 buyers because I put a sign there right away. 30, 40 buyers are calling me that they want to buy the property. But I can only sell to one person. But during the 30, 40, 50 days that I'm doing the rehab, I pick up a lot of buyers, okay? Now, why can't you do the same? Because just one flip a year can give you $60,000 plus maybe another 30, 40 buyers. So as an agent, you just go find properties for maybe 5, 6 of them and add those commissions to your one flip. All right? So what else do I want to discuss before? So I say to you, this GICD for life, liberty, and the pursuit of real estate. Now, I have a lot of videos recorded for all of this, okay? In the videos, you will get a chance to decide from today whether you should continue to be an agent or should now transition to an agent buyer, okay? An agent buyer is somebody who now goes to service a homeowner, okay, and ask the homeowner, look, my name is Amazing Toyin. I am a registered agent, licensed agent. I buy properties for my own account, and I also help homeowners list their properties to get the maximum value. Now, let's look at your situation. If you are operating with a good intention of helping the homeowner, right, okay, and your intention is clear, the goal of the homeowner is to dispose of their property at the maximum value, right? So you will not come up to the homeowner with what the market says. The market says that your house can sell for $200,000. It will take 90 days, but if you want to get $200,000, these are the properties that got $200,000 in the last 90 days, and these are the things they did to the house. Now, looking at your house right now, it needs a roof, it needs this, it needs that, it needs all that. Are you willing to do that? If you're not willing, even if we find a buyer, the appraiser might come in and discount your house for all those. So we might still end up at $150,000. So, Mr. Jones, here's my question to you. Do you want to sell for 150 now and move on? Or do you want to do all this work, right? And then so we can list it for $200,000. It's up to Mr. Jones to now say, hey, you know what? I would rather sell right now. I got to transfer, I mean, the house is in probate or the house is in foreclosure or we're getting divorced. Whatever reason they have to sell, okay? Your job is to help them through the transition, right? And it doesn't matter who makes the profit. Somebody's going to make the profit. Why not you? You're the one that found the homeowner, right? You're the one that is licensed. Do you know investors don't have to be licensed. But they make the bulk of the money in these flips. You that is licensed, you are allowed by law to make the same amount of money that the investor makes. So rather than go to look for an investor, you be the investor. That's what my training shows you, okay? That's why I have this program called the Real Estate Entrepreneurs Program, which turns you from just a listing agent to a real estate entrepreneur, which is what you are. As an independent contractor, you are an entrepreneur. You own your own business. You're responsible for your own taxes. You're responsible for your own advertising. So why not maximize your license and the opportunity that is available to everyone who is trying to come into the industry and take advantage of all the opportunities, and then you are just left taking only the crumbs. Why? And that's what I say to you, my friend. Join me in becoming a real estate investor broker or investor agent, okay, so that you could know and understand the flipping process from A to Z. And I'm here to teach you. My name is Amazing Toyin, and I invite you to click below and join me in taking advantage of these 63 videos that I've recorded specially for you. The 63 videos covers from A to Z everything you wanted to know about real estate investment that nobody has ever taught you. Because as agents, they never teach us the investment part of it. Nobody does, okay? Even brokers don't know. Most agents don't even know how to evaluate how an investor arrives at the price they offer. They just say to the investor, well, who's going to take that price? You need to understand the psychology of an investor, which is one of the topics of my video. The investor psychology. How does the investor decide to buy a property, sometimes without even seeing it? I've bought properties all over the country, and I never even went there. I didn't see the property, but I still bought it. Because the psychology of investment is something that I've learned over the last 25 years, okay? So I can make a decision to buy or not buy a property, whether I see it or not. And that program, that video, that one video alone can make you six-figure income once you understand investor psychology, okay? There are 63 videos, as I said, and if you look below, you will see the list of all these 63 videos, from finding leads, to finding the money, to rehabbing, talking to contractors. There's just so many of them that I've recorded over the last 6 months to 2 years that I said. And I want you to have access to them, okay? If you see below, you will see how you could gain access to them, right? I want to thank you for watching this video. It's about half an hour. I didn't intend it to be for that long, but I hope you got something out of it. If anything, I hope it wakes you up to who you are so you could begin to realize your own potential. Every agent deserves to make at least six-figure income every year, regardless of whether you're listing or you're an investor agent. Now, if you can make it as a listing agent, just add 1 or 2 more flips to your business model, all right? And you will be as successful as you intended to be when you join this business, right? So this is Amazing Toyin. Click below to join this program, okay? And have access to these 63 videos that I want to share with you. Now, after that, you will also get access to me over the next 12 months for as long as you want if you subscribe to my regular newsletter, which teaches you a whole bunch of stuff, videos that I've recorded on a lot of topics. Let me see if I can find some here that I've recorded over the years. Okay, so I mean, I've had videos on all these topics, okay, from generating leads, right? Okay, how to get 23 to 30% of your leads by referral. You know, have you seen some agents' cards that says, you know, says something like, you know, the best compliment I could get is a referral, right? So sometimes I wonder how many people actually call you based on that statement. I have a video that teaches you how to get 30 to 40% of your listing or investment purchases from referrals, okay? It's a process that you set up front, right? To where whoever you now buy a house from or sell a house to will refer you over the next, even if it's 5-10 years. If they send you one property over the next 5-10 years, that's another flip for you or a listing, okay? So I show you how to get all the free leads that you need and how to grow your business exponentially. So there are quite a lot of topics in all these videos, you know, that you will get over the next several months if you join my newsletter that I talk about once a month, right? You know, I talk about trust, fiduciary relationship, what differentiates you, you know, agents from each other. The homeowner only cares about selling their home. If they don't really care that much, who's going to be the agent, right? Well, obviously they tend to eventually place a trust in certain agents, right? Okay, but at the end of the day, all they care is about is who's going to sell it, how fast can they sell it, right? How do you develop that level of trust, right? To now gain the business as opposed to somebody else, right? How do you engage the homeowner, right? How do you become a trusted advisor to the homeowner, right? Instead of just, you know, a list, just as a homeowner. You are the trusted advisor. They trust you more than anybody else that shows up to list their home, right? So I talked about over the next several months, you know, fundamentals of real estate, the anatomy of a lead, right? Today, a lot of agents buy leads, right? But what they're really buying is data, which is different from a lead, okay? A lead is somebody who is actually qualified, right? That you know their circumstances, right? And you know why they want to sell, even before you ask them. But data that you could buy from all these portals, right? It's only just give you a name or somebody that called, you know, who's fishing around. So by the time you get to them, they've already called and fished around 10 other people. So that's why you need to develop a system where you have a constant supply of attractive leads that come to you and now give you control to qualify those leads to see how much time you want to waste, you know, in chasing those leads, right? Because by the time you get to them, you already know their circumstances. I'll show you how to do the research to peel under the layers of each property, right? To determine so that by the time you call them, you know what degree of motivation the homeowner has, right? And how many different types of motivation in there. For example, are they going through divorce? Are they in bankruptcy? Is the property in foreclosure, right? Do they have code violations? I mean, that's 4 degrees of motivation right there, right? So if you know all that going in, you will know how to approach them, you know how to discuss them so that you can now be a trusted advisor that understands their situation as opposed to be another agent who just shows up, hey, can I list your property, right? But who doesn't take the time to understand their circumstances, okay? So the whole objective of this series of videos is to show you how to make 6 to 7 figure income all the time, okay? So that's my other phone. That's Siri, that's technology for you. I got another phone there that was taking my voice talk. I was talking to the video, right? So I will show you in some of the other videos, you know, how to automatically attract leads, right? How to effortlessly attract leads, how to change your circumstances instead of wishing your circumstances would change. Because, see, most people wish their circumstance would just change magically, automatically, but it doesn't. You have to make the effort to change your circumstances. And I give you step-by-step process of doing that, all right? So, and these are more, all the sources of leads, how to attract leads, um, the whole process of purchase, transaction. Most agents are just transaction agents, right? So instead of just being a transaction agent, I teach you how to become a transformation agent. Because when somebody buys a house, you basically help them transform their life. So what's going to happen over the next 5 years? How can you now support them, be their advisor over the next 5 years, so that if anything changes in their circumstance, they call you first, because you have knowledge to now guide them, okay, over a period of time. I mean, it's not surprising that people buy a house, they lose it in 1 year. Sometimes they lose it in 3 years. Now, when they lose it, they call another agent. Why not you? You're the one that sold them the house. You should be in a position to help them prefer a solution, right? That either gives them options to, do modification, refinance the house. All those advice is what you should be performing as an agent of record, so that for the next 10 years or until they stop buying houses, you are their trusted advisor. There are ways for you to do that, which most agents don't take advantage of. They just sell a house, they move on to the next one. Whereas you could spend time servicing the one you just sold, or the one you bought, or the one you listed, to where you're now the trusted advisor to this family, right, for the rest of their life, because most families buy 1 or 2, 3 houses during their lifetime, right? I mean, if they move every 8 to 10 years, over the next 30 years, they'll buy 3 or 4 houses, okay? So overall, I teach you how to do a win-win partnership with every listing, every buyer, so that over the long haul, you are their trusted advisor, right? So I want to invite you to join my program, Real Estate Entrepreneurs Program, okay, as an agent and as an agent buyer, so that you could, like I said, have a paradigm shift in your mind, okay, and take your income and your business to the next level. So I want you to click below this amazing toy, and I'll see you on the other side.